So data tracking for students. Okay. Data is an integral part of making sure that they have buy-in with what they are doing in their learning. So this year we decided to LCs and for teachers just to look at, we wanted the students to actually get an idea of how we were making decisions and to be able to reflect on their grades and what work they had done towards test scores and all of that. So we put together these charts. So the questions that the teachers use are a set that they use every single time. It can be weekly, but it's usually bi-weekly. Just to talk through students, making sure they understand grades and how this all goes towards their performance for the end of the year. So, and then the main three things, which are sometimes hard, but we have to be positive. We have to have a helpful tone. And remember that data only tells part of the story. I mean, we all have students who are going through a lot. We've come out of COVID with the realization that there is so much more that we have to work with our kids on other than just academics. SEL, you know, it's not just the new thing, it's something that we're going to have to incorporate for years, making sure that our kids are truly well-rounded and that we are able to give them the relationships that they need to be successful when they're here at school. We can't control everything, strongly based on how safe they feel in our buildings. So for the teachers, the folders that we create, teachers usually do a bi-weekly check-in. They have a 9-week check-in with me, the principal. It says the 9 weeks, but it's actually based on the MAP testing schedule. So usually 1 week after MAP test, I would meet with all the kids, which we just MAP tested before we went on Christmas break. And unfortunately, I was out with the virus a few days last week, and I'm catching up with our kids this time. The first thing that goes in their folder is a self-reflection, and then a MAP goal setting sheet, and then a plan for success. And we work through all of that as we go. But here's the question folder first, and then the next thing in their folder would be their report cards. So we look at current grades. Why do you think you have this grade? What grade would you like to have? What can you do to improve your grade? And what can the teacher do to help you improve? This kind of goes along with our exit slips and things like that. When teachers see that the kids are having issues, they can come back to this. Obviously, this would be the gateway to ESS if you needed to sign up for that. We also have RTI groups that change pretty frequently within the classrooms. We do have set RTI pullouts that are evaluated every 3 weeks, but this is something that can change more frequently based on how a student feels they're doing, based on whatever their standard or goal is for that lesson. So that would be the teacher's part. And then when it comes to my part, it's obviously after what their previous RIT was, we set their goal for the next test. We look at what success that they can have and what plans they need to make. For reading, a lot of them will admit that they do not read at home, and so they add that in, which is a little bit harder to monitor. But we've worked in some different things with AR testing and my own competitions to try to help them get more reading time within the day. So we work through these, and then in addition to that, we also have their previous year's KAS scores. And we can actually look at that and say, well, here's where you are now. Here's where you were last year. currently you are or are not on track to be at that point, or you need, to do some extra tutoring or ESS in a specific subject, and we kind of go from there. I think that's the last one on my slide. Yeah. We also in the folder have their STAR test results. I don't know how many of you use Renaissance and do STAR testing, but we just have an extra idea of reading fluency and comprehension, so we have that in there as well to see student growth over the years. And we also give that 3 times a year. It's given the same weeks as we give MAP, so that we always have that to look back on. And that's all I have to talk about as far as the folders. Do you want to add anything, Ms. Smith?
Well, I just want to say that as far as the MTSS coordinator, we look at the whole child. And we have different targeting points where we can identify specific children. We do the student risk screener with the children, and then we identify them as high, moderate or high risk with the MTSS team does. And then the teacher with the kids are assigned a mentor so that we can keep track of those kids throughout. We continually monitor individual students throughout the year. And then we'll meet, we'll do the student risk screener 3 times a year also to see, okay, is this helping? We have a counselor who check out with the kids. What else? Sylvia. Then also with our district literacy, we have a district literacy team that meets, and we evaluate. We go over their star rating. We go over their map with in the literacy section. So all that helps us identify the kids that need to be in RTI. We're able to monitor growth through a progress monitoring sheet that we have for all teachers who are the kids that are identified through RTI. What else?
That seems like a lot, but but all of this goes into
parents are continually notified.
Yes, and we can always pull these folders and we can say, your child is doing this in class and they are working, and these are the goals that they have set themselves, and here's how you can help us, and that's basically the whole spiel that I have that I did in 10 minutes. So if you have any questions or anything, feel free to ask. We're always willing to take suggestions on how we can improve.
All right. Well, are there any questions? I was not seeing any in the chat.
I would kind of like to know more about your MTSS team that you mentioned there.
Okay.
Well, we haven't. I came on board in November of last year, and one of the I'm the literacy coach through the KYCL grant. And part of that also was connected with MTSS, and so I'm the MTSS coordinator. So what I did to start with was we created the MTSS team at the grade school. We wanted early Head Start and the middle school. We wanted all those, and those are all separate teams. Now with the MTSS, we have lead teachers. And those lead teachers take care of certain grades, like our first grade teacher is a lead teacher over our kindergarten and first. our third grade teacher is over second and third, and then our fifth grade teachers over, or our fourth grade teachers over fourth and fifth. They're the ones who do the data collection. They're the ones that brings that information to the team. And then as a team, we look at all that information and we dissect that information, and it helps us target certain kids who are, and that's where we look at the individualization of the kids. We target certain kids, then we go back academic, behavior, and the SRSS screener. So it's a really good screener. We're also involved. We have a lady who works for Avery. She comes out of Louisville, and she helps get the team established. She comes every so often and makes sure helps keep us on the right track. We're currently connected with PBIS as far as our behavior aspect. We wanted to work on academics first, and we've got that under control with our RTI group and everything. So then we wanted to look at behavior. You were connected to PBIS, right, Ms. McIntosh?
Yes.
So what we're going to do is just pick that back up, since that's familiar with the teachers. They already have their anchors in place. We just want to renew all that, because once after COVID, everybody kind of got away from that. At PBIS, but also with the SEL, we have a counselor here, and the counselor helps in. That's where we do the moderate and the high identifiers. Now, your moderate kids, that's a screener that goes to the teachers. And basically they kind of look, and on that it has different questions, and the teacher will put down, okay, this occurred like 3 times in my classroom, or how many times, and then it's on a ranking scale. And then you use the ranking scale to determine where that kid fits on that. That gives us a strong indicator if that student is at risk, and if we need to put more interventions into place. And that's where your check-in, check-out comes into play. Does that make sense?
That does, and I think your procedures here are a lot better than mine. I'm in Jackson County. So would you all be open to a site visit? Let me come in and kind of observe what you've got going on and steal some of your paperwork.
Yes, yeah.
Absolutely. I'm
Yes.
willing to help Jackson County. Kendria Bingham is my best friend.
Oh, she's a good one. We got
Yes.
one of the best FFA programs in the state.
Amen. I agree.
Do you know
I
Steve
do,
Carroll?
yes.
I used to work with him in Lee County. So he's a good
So
friend of
I'll
mine.
email you here at the
So-
end of the day, and we'll try to find a date that works. I appreciate it.
Okay,
You're
sounds
welcome.
good.
Terrific. Other questions that we have out there? Well, if there are no other questions, and Sylvia, is that your presentation? Do you have anything else to add that you would like to add, or any wrap-ups?
No, if anybody wants any of our paperwork, we'll gladly share it.
Yes.
Just send me an email.
Okay, and the session is being recorded, so anything that she shared, you can go back and view. And thank you so much for being here. We're gonna give you guys back some time today. And again, Sylvia and your folks at Owsley, thank you so much for participating today, and thank you all. And if you want, you can probably grab another session in one of the other breakout rooms. And the next session will start here, round 5. We'll start at noon, and it is entitled, excuse me, 10 Tips for New Principals. Shelley Clark from Hardin County Schools, and so that's for all levels. So thank you all again, and have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your conference.